I remember that.
All right, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another iteration of the My Hero Academia Manga Chapter Reads. We got episode 400, actually, the big 4-0-0. And I'm here with Mark.
Hey.
And Mark, there's something that we always do before every new chapter, and what would that be?
Recap episode!
Yeah, it's a recap episode.
Correct.
Correct. Recap episode real quick. 399. This is All Might still in the midst of the fight with All For One, and he's using all the different pseudo quirks from like Class 1A to get it done. What was interesting about this chapter was the fact that they cut it over to Aoyama's fight with alongside Fat Gum. And then let me see. Like just to kind of focus on All Might's fight. Boy's struggling. But he knows that he's just meant to stall for time. So it's just about trying to do as much damage and to deplete pretty much just stall for time, and also see if he can make an impact on like his health, therefore activating Ares' quirk a little bit more to further that process of de-aging him in the process. That's a side effect of just going through like the reversal bit. At that point, All For One sends out these two like really grotesque like snake-like things with human teeth. It's the grossest thing. He's also able to slip through like walls in a way, like he's like part of like the cement. Either that or he like breaks through it, and he slams like All Might like where it really hurts. But he's hanging in there because he was able to grab him, hit him with a little bit of Shoto's quirk, and then with the power of like, actually let me see what the exact like moment there was, like where it connected the lines. Kind of did prior to that. Oh yeah, oh there it is. Yeah, a power substation connected to those like two like flying bird units that he has, that he dubs like Anima's quirk, and then like charges like Hercules, sends that into the air, and then shoots like the naval laser straight downward, possibly risking All Might's health, but we'll get to that shortly. Meanwhile, on the other front is Aoyama's fight, and it shows like his resolve after he's been like pinned down, or I guess I should say pinned up. And I mean, he at this point he lost his bell. He lost the control of like his naval lasers. Bad guys like really just like flaming him for that. But but pretty much Aoyama has the resolve to shoot like straight lasers, albeit they were straying off, so they weren't really hitting the target. But that's when Hagakure comes around, spins around, and redirects like the lights, because that's what she does. And she was able to pull off a pretty sick combo going on with that. And we get another like shot of her too, which is nice. At this point, like I'm glad that for like a character who is just invisible and had just like a face reveal early on, she gets another moment like that in this one.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. So it's like it ends with like possibly like the climactic end of like two like particular fights. And then I guess it's time to move on to number 400. I realized that there's not really a kind of front color spread on this one. I guess I'll see something later, but we have a number 400, Beyond Limits. I see what they did there. We cut to Aoyama. He's looking out. He's like, "Is that you, Hagakure?" And just like for like a slight moment for now, you can actually see her like fully visible. She doesn't really say anything. She just like, she's got like the villain like clamped down. She holds up her hand. She looks at herself and she's like, "Oh."
She has that sudden realization.
"Oh, you can see. You can see." And she's like, "Ah, look away." Look away. He's like, "Oh."
He said, Mademoiselle, sorry.
No. Being invisible is like my whole identity. She runs off. No, forgive me, but I don't react as myself. I don't react as I myself was on the verge of death as I look away, but like sputting out like naval lasers still. We get Hagakure talking. Using my quirks never really caused this before. Wait, maybe it did. Let's see. Facing down, Doom must have made him go past his usual capacity, and that made my invisible quirk bug out. And I guess that would be a side effect then,
Because
possibly.
she's refracting light, and he's just a huge source of light.
So now, like in like close proximity, like she can't be seen.
Yeah, she's visible then.
She turns to him, Aoyama. Your quirk wouldn't evolved. As he's smiling as well. Forget about that. We must burn away these plants to save our allies. Fat mentioned that they would continue to grow even if their master was defeated. The will behind them may be gone, but they do not vanish. Let me see. I was gonna say, is that? Oh yeah, I think that's Fat Gum right there. He's like,
Yeah, it's bad gum.
yeah, yeah. But I guess I'm still talking. Harakure, you can adjust the strength of my light to burn the roots and dig into their flesh. Yeah, is your tummy up for that? She asked. This day will be my last as a student of UA, so yes, whatever it may take.
Don't say that, man.
Don't say that. All right, I'll go and just take this last page here.
Well,
We meanwhile we have the naval laser Hercules unit shooting down. We get like beep beep engines overheating, battery
the
failure.
navel of dawn.
The navel of dawn. All Might's like, let it up even a bit, and he'll drag himself away. So it's just like full power as the laser just keeps firing.
That thing really is just destroying that man.
I can't help but think about, yeah, that one scene Gears 1.
Exactly. I tell you, it looks like the hammer of dawn.
Yeah, but like once you take the berserker out, like it doesn't stop.
True.
They didn't they do that in Gears 3, like a final like Hammer of Dawn, essentially?
Yeah, against the Lambent Berserker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that was using the like older satellites that like they weren't very accurate.
Yeah. What a cool series. We should probably revisit that. Oh, sorry, but go ahead. You can take this next page.
We have All Might here. I've taken a cue from Star's Last Stand. Although turning a laser into solid matter for continuous oomph isn't a trick in my repertoire. As he's like getting away from the laser a bit more, he's using it looks like he's using his thrusters to do so.
Yeah, unfortunately, his body's kind of warped a little bit.
We see the laser rumble, rumble. Boom! We see one arm come out.
But how? I lived.
We see All Might. So, and we see that he's got what looks like speakers in his chest.
Oh, oh.
Next page. Sound wave vibration. Earphone jack. As he shoots out a sound wave. I'll have to blast him with all I've got to keep him square in the strike zone.
Oh my God, Mark, have you seen that like meme? Like, it's a series of videos, but it starts with this car with like crazy amount of bass, and you just hear like this lyrics like "Cut a right, easy," and then you hear like the "Cut a right, can't prosper."
Is that what you're imagining right now?
Yeah,
He's blasting this man with bass.
yeah. Hey, I mean, like, we could make a meme of that once it's animated.
True. And we see here that how he got out of there. It says he says All Might. He says I purged the tentacle parts and zipped away with full power thrusters just as the beam was coming down. And coating my armor with Invisible Girl, a special optic resin, helping shield me from the laser's heat a bit.
Oh, all right.
Engineering this trap meant taking that one hit hit I guarded with Tailman. All right, so he was able to pull himself out of there. Oh, but not completely, as he says, though my legs still paid the price. His legs hurt a little bit. All Might smiling. You wanted to see my face, so you didn't aim for my head. You moron! I got off easy here. Oh, is that a Marvel reference? Should have aimed for the head.
I mean, honestly.
And then from the laser, you see all these black tendrils come out.
Yee. Oh no.
All Might got hit. He's like, oh, still smiling.
He's still smiling.
We see All Might using another quirk. Morphing armor. Create. So he's using Momo's quirk.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't load myself up with more power than this. As we can see All for One trying to crawl out of the laser,
He's trying.
and we see All Might throwing these two balls, binding rounds, grape
Let's
juice.
go.
And we can see they stick to him to the ground. So just fade away already. Go to the next page. You see All Might again. While my euphoria is still overriding the pain. Then we see
Yo.
a camera that's still broadcasting it all around the world. We see this one kid and his like I'm assuming his grandmother maybe. The kid's like, "Who's the skinny guy in black?" The old woman. I don't know much about all them heroes. And then we see the kid again. What happens if he wins or if he loses? We see the old woman again. That's all going on in some far off land. Whoever wins this doesn't have much to do with us. You see the kid. He's like, "Oh, huh." As he's watching All Might, he's like really focusing in on All Might. As he like is just gripping his hands, like
Oh my
as I assume
god. Yeah, yeah.
he's basically rooting for All Might right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the boom as we see the Hercules unit finally stopped.
Yeah.
All Might's like, oh,
Wow, what
as we see those.
crazy lighting and shading on this one.
I know as the buildings are crush or they're just crispy. You see All Might just looking forward at the laser area. Oh, now to you.
Oh my god. These series of panels are insane just to see like the sequences of events happening.
I know.
But yeah, it's funny you say glowing baby, right? He says, as I said, tools can't surpass their own limits.
He is completely glowing.
All Might's like, his body's glowing. A wee lad now. No way. Ain't no way. Anyway, let's continue. Are you forgetting to smile, dear friend? He says. But yeah, he is but a wee lad. Something's going on in the next page. Next panel shows something growing out of his right shoulder. As like All Might just it's getting really bright over there. All Might just like he's trying to see forward, and it shows just a white enveloping All for One this time. It says, "I can't move," and I'm just wondering, like, wait, what's happening? we'll we'll see that All Might those thrushes go forward towards it as we hear all as we get a little flashback. Who are you, really, with a dull blade? And you're like, oh. As we see, like, from the dust from above, as it continues, all bleed red. Can't really quite see him, but you can know who that is.
Oh, you know who it is.
We see, all my in the next panel, he like it's a little sliver of him, and he's smiling as we see a grotesque long tongue like swipe at like a little bit of blood that's on pavement that's floating in the sky. It shows that it's Stain, and he licked all for One's blood, As he says, "Now conquer him, All Might." Whoa! You did not expect this tag team.
Bro, Stain held him in place. All Might's about to finish this.
So okay, now I understand. So so All for One was about to like send out another grotesque like physical thing at him, and that's when like everything just kind of stopped for him. It's because of Stain. That was sick.
No.
All Might's about to wallop this dude, this little kid, with everything he's got.
I did I do like the wording here is good, but I did like the fan translation a little bit more where it said, "Go, All Might." Like just telling him to go, just like, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think I think Stain was just born with like a physical quirk, like in the sense that he has a long tongue, and I think that's it.
The tongue is a huge part of his quirk.
This is true. So aside from that, he's a regular dude.
Ooh, that was a good setup right there. All Might's about to, and you know what? As else,
Mm.
what else? Looking at this, looking at what All Might's doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
because I think we saw him do something, because he still hasn't used one thing. I think he's about to finish this man off with explosion.
Yeah, he's got palms, he's got arms. That's all he has. He has the palm of his hands.
Yay.
This is shaping up to be great. I obviously I like the what it means for Stain to be there and to call out All Might the way he does, just as like all just to recognize that like what he's doing and kind of re-solidifying like what All Might stood for, and that like what he's doing now is exactly what Stain had envisioned of him to do. So
Exactly.
just it's acknowledgement of the highest tier. And now, given like everything that like All Might's been going through for the sake of this fight, albeit it's only like kind of a whole motion, it was just like the naval laser, him getting away, and then just seeing like this dude recover, and he's just trying to hold him down.
Basically.
It really kind of shapes up to the point where it's like it looks like they might actually legitimately stop this all for one. So the merging doesn't happen. Obviously, like some people will write things off as like the big bad like fully combines the full form, and then it gets stopped by like a strong sense of resolve on the other side, and that's usually how they write things out. If they're not able to like do something like this, or they were able to stop a big bad, but now they have to deal with the other one. Usually, like the big bads will just converge regardless. But yeah, it's starting to
Stain
look.
isn't. Stain's not exactly a bad guy.
Yeah, but
He's, don't get me wrong, he's definitely not a good guy,
yeah,
but he's also not completely a villain.
yeah. No, I think the way Stain's written off, he is just kind of like the anti-hero here.
I don't know if I'd say, like, because I said before, like, we first saw Stain, would you call him anti-hero or an anti-villain?
Yeah, I think that yeah, you could coin it as like anti-villain like back then,
It's like, it's either one or the other.
because well, actually, you know what? People can possibly like coin him as just a villain back then, because he's trying because like all villains, like really good villains, typically have like a good motive behind them. It's morally good, just done like in the worst way possible.
Stain's intentions for society are
To kind
good.
of so
They're they're good, but the way he's going about it is fucking nuts.
yeah, it's essentially he is trying to create a society of like really good like idealistic heroes.
Not these
But
people who are just out for money and fame.
correct. So he finds it in himself that he has to be the one to off all of these like heroes, so that
That
only the
he
good
may
ones are
not
there,
want to be.
and that the good ones who like take him in, who jail him, it's all for the better. So he sacrifices himself in a way just to become like the bad guy in that sense. But I would still say he's kind of a villain in that regard, because like think about like maybe Sukasa from like early on in Doctor Stone. He I mean, it's just like a couple of like people like on the island or like on the landscape right there, and then he's the one who's crushing all the like adults there because he doesn't like them because of what they were unable to do for him back then, which was to save his sister. So he wants to clean the world so that like only the purists and the more innocent are able to like just kind of like take into the world, and that's kind of like his warped mindset of like society. So even though he's like trying to do things for good, ultimately for the society he wants to build, it's not really the greatest thing that he's doing.
The way he's going about it is not good.
And the way that the story phrases it, like yeah, the way that the story is kind of like warping our perspective is that he is technically a bad guy in that case. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, they're two different characters, but Stain's kind of like that. But here it's like, okay, yeah, he's doing the good thing. Although whether or not like Stain has like learned about his philosophies and his mindset is a different story entirely. Thankfully, a lot of the heroes that we see that are doing all these cool things are ideals that like live up to his expectations. Therefore, he'll just kind of leave that like on the table. He won't do anything with that. Most likely, like after this conflict, he'll probably get turned in, or at least it'll be All Might that would arrest him.
He said before the only person who's gonna stop him is All Might.
Yeah, but yeah, but not to take away from like the cool moment that he has, where it's just like he's helping out.
He saved Izuku.
He did, yeah, and he also just recently just acknowledged like Ida.
Yeah, he admitted he was wrong on Ida,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's helping All Might finish off the biggest bad of them all.
Mm-hmm. Honestly,
Oh man,
yeah. Honestly, if I was him, or at least if I was on my, I'd probably ask him like, would he ever consider like doing like heroism instead of like trying to like structure things in his own way. Probably would just not get like a better answer than just like I'll still do what I do. And it's like okay, well, I'm about to cuff him. But
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, he respects All Might. All Might's to him, All Might is the ideal hero,
hmm
which is true.
but yeah. So I guess that really is chapter 400. Let me see if there was. Huh. I guess they didn't really have much to add with 400 as far as like the chapter itself. They might have like posted something about it on social media, like happy 400. But looks like that's all we had for that one. I know they just had like their 9 year like illustration spread, so that's also acceptable too.
Which is wild to think it's been 9 years.
9 years. Did you know that Bakugo is still technically dead?
True, and it'll be next week. New chapter coming in 7 days.
You know what? Yeah, honestly, like if All Might like uses explosion quirk to finish off All for One, and they couple that with like Bakugo rising up,
Bakugo waking up.
All for One like old All for One dead, new Bakugo lives. It's like whoa.
Circle of life.
I can see that considering that they did the same thing with Aoyama. Yeah, I can see that. Oh, now I'm kind of like anticipating it too. It's like, oh, I can't wait to see like Bakugo just go like full blasting the moment he wakes up. Anyway, I started blasting. Yeah, I can see that actually. I mean, obviously it's a big final fight with like Deku and Shigaraki at this point. Yeah, I can imagine also Bakugo like jumping in on that one, if anything for like some support. But yeah, ah man, that means 401 could be something really promising. So that's all I gotta say. Mark, is there anything else you would like to add before we go ahead and call?
I think we pretty much said everything because there's not much else we could say. But next chapter, woo! Can't wait to see we got to see where this goes, man. Not sure.
Mm-hmm. More shading,
More shading,
more
more.
shading, unnecessary details to tongue illustrations. Yikes. Yeah. Also, shouts to just like that shot of like the kids just praying for All Might, rooting for him. I was also like one of the situations where like they, it was just somewhere from far away. Everyone's watching this. Even my grandma, you can see her right there.
No,
She's like, I don't know much about them, the heroes.
not much about damn heroes.
Yeah. Alrighty then. In that case, we'll go ahead and call it here. Guys, we appreciate you for tuning in on this one. And we'll see you guys in the next chapter, which would be chapter 401. So, see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves until then, everybody. Hashtag bye, everyone.